All right, today we are going to make a video that I've wanted to make for quite a while, and this is going to show you how much bite and bonding strength SeamLock Pro really has when it comes to your countertop fabrication. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start this stopwatch, and that has nothing to do with what we're actually doing today, but I want to be able to show you this video has not been edited, it has not been cut. When we get to the end, I have not swapped out pieces. There's been no magic editing behind the scenes to try and fake you guys out. What you see is what you get. Now, I will probably increase the speed to 2 times, 3 times, 4 times, so you don't have to actually watch the glue dry. I don't know where you're at, but right now it is evening time, even at like 7 o'clock here in Texas. It's still like 97 degrees and 90% humidity. So once I get this all done, I'm gonna have to go dry off all the sweat here because I am freaking dripping, even though sun is about to go down. So I want to do this glue up today. I want to show you just how much bite SeamLock Pro has. So as many of you guys know, we have, a lot of people call SeamLock Pro an epoxy, right? When we go out there like, oh, it's a 2-part epoxy, it works. And for the most part, we really don't say anything, right? As long as you like the glue and it's working, that's great. But what I want to talk about kind of today is the advantages of the methyl methacrylates, which is what SeamLock Pro is. A lot of people know them as MMA adhesives. And the biggest advantage of the MMAs is you don't really have to worry about prep. Right? If you're working with an epoxy, let's say you've got an epoxy that's got a 10,000 PSI bond strength. A lot of times you're going to have to take your piece, you're going to have to clean it really good, you're going to have to sand it, scuff it up, make sure it's got some grip there. Then you can clean it one more time, make sure there's no dust, nothing on it, glue it up, and then you're good to go. The strength of that epoxy truly depends on your prep time and the effort you put into the prep. Now, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of times when it gets to the shop, even though you give instructions and you're like, hey, we need to do A, B, C, a lot of guys don't follow it, right? We're going to do, once again, we're going to walk through how to prep your adhesive here before we put it on. It's just a simple 2 or 3 step process. And even then, we get into shops and we see people skipping half of it, right? So the nice thing about the SeamLock Pro is even if your guys space out or they miss something, you're going to be good. Now, I've hesitated making this video for a couple of reasons. And the number one reason is just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? So do you need to spend a bunch of time cleaning your pieces and prepping them? For bond strength, no. For aesthetics, yes. If you're going to be seaming these 2 pieces of white together, you want to make sure that this is white. You're not going to have any scuffs, any dust, right? If you get black dust or like gray grinding dust in here and you try and pull this seam, you're going to have a visible seam line. So for the actual aesthetic quality of the seam, yeah, you still need to be cleaning this. And, if you're using quartz or natural stone, wipe it down with acetone. If you're using solid surface, wipe it with denatured alcohol. If you've got scuffs on there, buff out the scuffs and then wipe it down with the acetone or the denatured alcohol, depending on what you're using. Well, today we're not going to do any cleaning because we don't really care about the aesthetics. We are testing bond strength and bite. That is all we care about here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spray these guys with Blaster dry lube. I believe this is a Teflon based. It says doesn't have any silicone in it, so generally these are either silicone based or Teflon based. So we're going to spray this on here and then bond it and see how well the SeamLock bonds with that. And then on this guy over here, we're going to spray it with good old WD-40. And we're going to see how well it bites through the WD-40 and how well it bites through the dry lube and gets that bond. So first thing we're going to do is just the same thing we always do. This is a used adhesive. It's been used probably about 1/4 of the way through. This is Mesa. It is not going to be the same color match to this. It's going to be kind of a dark chocolate brown. Since this has been used, I'm going to take off the retaining ring. I'm going to pop off this cap. I'm going to look in here and see if there's plugs. There could be a plug in this one. If you're looking in here, this one might be plugged up a little bit, but I'm going to slide it in here and see. So I'm going to take it. I'm going to put the plungers in. I'm going to burp it. This is a step that almost everybody misses. Oh, look, that exploded out with a big clog there. That is why we always burp our adhesives. We're going to push it a little bit more. Now I have adhesive and catalyst. I'm going to push it this way so you can see. Now I've got adhesive and catalyst coming out. That's what I want. So let's say you had not followed your steps here for prep. See how much adhesive I had to burp out because of this plug here? There's a very solid plug right here that was in there. But it popped out because I burped it. We're going to have a good seam now. This is a great lesson in why you should always prep your adhesives and don't cheat on any steps. If you would have just slammed a tip on here, you would have been getting partial resin out, and you probably would have had a bad seam, and you'd be blaming the adhesive rather than the operator error. So we've got that purged. Now we're going to take a new tip. Now that we know there is resin and catalyst coming out here, we're going to slam on a new tip. It only goes on one way. We're going to put on the retaining ring, and then we are going to bleed this tip, and we're going to purge out here. Make sure we got a good mix of resin. So this is bled and ready to go. So on this one, I am going to take the dry lube. I'm going to put the dry lube on this piece. It is nice and coated. I don't know if you can see on that how wet it is. Got the dry lube on there. We put some dry lube on here. That's nice and wet. I'm going to take this guy. I'm going to take the WD-40. That is freaking messy. Okay. WD-40 on there. Put some WD-40 on this one. Okay. And the WD-40, I'm going to leave it on there. I am just going to blot it because this stuff is running everywhere. Again, I'm not trying to cheat the system. If you look at here, it's still wet and shiny. Again, I'm not trying to cheat on this test. I just want to get some of the excess off here because if it is wet, it's going to leak everywhere and then I'm going to be covered in it. So now we've got WD-40 on this one. And on this one, we have the dry lube. I'm going to blot the dry lube here and get this up. I'm going to blot the dry lube here so I don't make a mess. So we have dry lube, we have WD-40. We are now going to see how well this bonds. I did not get clamps. Let me grab clamps. All right, I forgot to bring over some spring clamps. So first thing we're going to do is just going to bond this. I'm going to put some glue on here. All right, we got plenty of glue on that one. We're going to put a bunch of glue on this one. All right, glue is there. Where'd my thing go? There it goes. Okay. Now I'm going to take this. I'm going to put it on here like this. We got plenty of squeeze out. I'm going to put a couple of clamps on here. Put another clamp on here. All right, so this is glued together. You can see the squeeze out coming out there. We got the squeeze out here. Squeeze out all the way around. This is the WD-40 one. Don't shift. So I know it's just an experiment, but still I'm kind of anal. So there's that one. Let me glue this one together here. This is the side with all the dry lube. I'm going to put this on here like this. Okay. Put a clamp on here. Put a clamp on here. Okay, got a little glue on my fingers here. So if you look at this one, I now have that there, squeeze out all the way around. This is the dry lube sample. So I'm going to go ahead and let these dry up here. I'm going to put another clamp in the middle. And I'm going to get one more for this one. And I'm going to let them dry. I'm going to leave the clock running. I'll probably have to come over and touch the iPad periodically to make sure it stays on. But the goal is to let these dry, and then we're going to test them and see how well that bond is. All right, so we are back here. The glue is pretty much dry. It does kind of have kind of a little slimy surface on it, but underneath that it's pretty dry. So I don't know if that's the WD-40 that's making it do that, or like on this one, if it's the dry lube, it's just on the surface. So a couple takeaways on this that I think are kind of outside of what we're trying to do here, but I think they're important to know is, first off, this mesa came out of the refrigerator back there. This fabricator in Texas keeps their adhesives in the refrigerator. It gives them a little bit extra workability, right? It is, I mean, it's 7 o'clock at night here. It's probably still 97, 98 degrees, and it's probably 90% humidity. So if you put the SeamLock Pro down when it is this hot, it kicks very fast. So in this shop, they glue up like a lot of big islands, a lot of miter edges, a bunch of custom work. So they keep their adhesive in the fridge, and so it does give it an extra 5 minutes or so in work time having the adhesive cold. So you can see we're at about 31 minutes. We got done gluing everything up around the 10 or 11 minute mark. It's been about 20 minutes. Normally you can expect this adhesive to kick off in 12 to 15 minutes, and then you can be sanding it, breaking it down, and good to go. We're here, and it is still just a little bit tacky, and I don't know if that's because of the dry lube or the WD-40 or the fact that it was in the fridge and it's still kicking. But the other thing I want to go over is, if you look, this mesa that I pulled, it has a manufacture date of 03/04/2024. So that's March 4th of 2024. The date today is July 30th or 31st. I think it's the 30th. So this is basically a 1.5 year old glue. Now, I know from a manufacturer's perspective, we always say the glue is good for a year. This glue is basically almost 1 year and 5 months old, and it is still kicking. It is still doing good. So as you can see, the Big Dog adhesives, they are good quality glues. We've had fabricators use glue that's 2 years old and still have not had any issues, right? It's got a really good catalyst in it. It bites. That being said, you know, if you're leaving your glue in a hot car in the back of a truck, I probably wouldn't go past the 1 year mark. If it's kind of in a fridge or it's in an office environment that's been steady, you're not going to have any issues. What really hurts the adhesive, and it's mostly the activator, is when you leave it in a scalding hot car, right? We have fabricators that throw these up on the dash of their car. In Texas and Arizona, that kills the resins and the catalyst. So as long as it's in room temperature, or if it's in a fridge, not a problem going past a year. So Sam from the future here. I want to clarify what I was saying because I'm editing this video and I was like, what the heck is that guy saying? It made no sense. I think he's near heat stroke and he doesn't even realize it. So let me clarify. If you leave your adhesive in the dash of a car, throw it out. I don't care if it's been 2 hours, 3 hours a day. If you're in a hot state like Arizona, California, Nevada, Texas, Florida, it can reach 150, 160, 200 degrees on the dash of that car, and that will absolutely destroy the adhesive. So throw it in the trash. You do not want the reputation of your company to be dependent on an adhesive that might be bad. So if you have seen an adhesive left in the dash of your car, throw it out. Do not let your installers use that. Do not let your fabricators use it. If you're in a shop like Arizona, California, Nevada, Texas, or Florida where it's warm and your adhesive stays in the shop, you're probably going to be fine, right? If you've got an adhesive that you're like, oh, this adhesive's like a year and a half old, it might still work. Test it, see if it works. If it bonds on your test, you should be good to go, right? I mean, SeamLock's adhesive is a very durable adhesive, and it can hold up to that. If you're in a state like Minnesota or Oregon or Alaska or anywhere where it's actually like beautiful temperatures and people actually want to live, you're probably not going to have any problems keeping that adhesive in the shop, right? I do know a lot of the guys in Arizona, California, Nevada, Texas, they keep their adhesives in the refrigerator, and it really has nothing to do with the shelf life per se of the adhesive. They're literally doing that to slow down how fast the adhesive kicks. Because if you're gluing up a huge island and the adhesive is warm and it's 100 degrees, 115 degrees in your shop, and you start gluing that up, I mean, it's going to kick fast. And having it in the fridge and getting that extra 5 minutes or so can make a difference between, you know, making sure everything is perfect and being rushed and maybe screwing something up. So that's the main reason that people keep it in the refrigerator in the warmer states. It has nothing to do with shelf life. It has everything to do with extending the workability of the adhesive. So I hope that clears things up, because I don't know what that guy was saying on the video. He was just kind of rambling there. So If you guys have any questions, let us know, and we'll let you get back to your original video. Just something I wanted to point out. Everybody asked that, how long can I use the adhesive? What's the shelf life? Well, here we are, we're at 1.5 years, and this adhesive is still working good. And hopefully it's still bonding, even though there's WD-40 and dry lube. So we're now at 33 minutes here. I'm gonna take off these clamps. We're gonna look at this. We're gonna see how strong it is. It is mostly bonded. Oh. All right, this is the dry lube one. And as you can see, it is solid. You can see on here, you've got the lubricant, it's pushed out, the dry lube, so you can see the dry lube. I don't know if you can see that on there, but it's kind of shiny on the top of the surface. So you can kind of see the matte finish that is the glue, and then there's some like dry lube residue on the top. Same with on this one. This is the no drip formula, so you'll see when it squeezed out, it didn't run down the side of the edge. It just squeezed out and stayed right where it is, even though there was a ton of squeeze out. So it bonded on the dry lube. This is not coming apart. So the dry lube, SeamLock Pro, bound to it, no issues, still very, very strong. It probably still does have, you know, some more curing to do. This is literally 20 minutes after it was glued, and it is already not coming apart, even with the dry lube. Now we've got the WD-40. So the WD-40 here, we're here, it's bound. As you can see here, there is still some like residual or pushed out some of that wet WD-40. You've got the matte adhesive there, same with on this side here. So on this one, I mean, right, there's the WD-40 one, bonded and not coming apart. There's WD-40 still all over it. Now I've got WD-40 all over my hands. And then the dry lube one, dry lube here, it bonded and held it together. So I know a lot of people have asked a lot of times, well, how strong is it? What if I don't prep? What if I mess something up? Well, here's the proof. The proof is in the pudding here. We bonded these wet with dry lube. We bonded this wet with WD-40. They are bound, they are strong, no issues whatsoever. Say this glue is even almost 1.5 years old, and it still bound them this well together, so you shouldn't have any issues. If your guys skip a step or space out one day, this is going to guarantee you a good bond. You're not going to have anything to worry about. Now, I say all of this with the preface that clean everything good, right? I mean, it's not going to affect the bond strength, right? Still going to be strong enough. If you clean it, your bond strength is going to be even better. And when it comes to countertops, one thing we really care about is the aesthetics. So make sure you are cleaning everything. Again, quartz natural stone, use acetone. Solid surface, use denatured alcohol, and get all the dirt and everything off of there so that you have a tight aesthetic seam that just looks good for your client. But I just want to show you here, the SeamLock Pro is good stuff, right? I know I get people that email me and they're like, hey, of course you're going to say SeamLock's good. Big Dog's paying you. Well, yeah, that's true, but I truly believe in SeamLock, right? There's a couple of things, like in this shop, I'm not getting paid anything by Dynabrade. I'm still going to tell you, Dynabrade air sanders are the best air sanders you can get. Big Ass Fan that they have in the shop. They're not sponsoring me. Big Ass Fan makes an amazing product. They have a phenomenal products, right? There are some products that, even if I'm not getting paid for them, I wasn't getting paid with SeamLock Pro in the beginning when I was talking about how great it was. I believe in certain products, and I believe that certain products will truly make your life better, and that's why I promote them. And SeamLock Pro for the countertop industry is one of those products that nobody really thinks about glue, but it is one of the key factors that's going to make you take your game to the next level and deliver the best possible product for your customer. So if you have not checked out SeamLock Pro, go to seamlock.com, give it an order, try it out, give me a call if you have any questions. We'd love to help you. You're going to love the SeamLock Pro. If you're in the fabrication business, you have no reason not to try it, use it, and make sure you're taking your game to that next level. Talk to you guys soon.